Shalom, family, shalom, peace and blessings to everyone. Welcome to the book room. Um, just coming on briefly tonight just to read. We know that this month is recognized in this country as Black History Month. And of course, we also know that a lot of our history has been distorted and twisted and hidden. So we want to read from some research. Some of our brethren in this Hebrew Israelite awakening or Israelite awakening have actually some scholars who have done research and written books and and do excellent teaching and are bringing forth documents and even artifacts and writings, artifacts, pictures, things that prove and reinforce of who we are as a people and our existence in the world and the fact that we have made great contribution. Other than that, what we're taught in school here in the United States and in our in all these colonized countries in the world. But we're finding out now in these last days that we actually are the beginning of civilization as a people, and mostly what all nations know today, they learned from us. Okay, and so we have these scholars, and I'm going to introduce a book to you. This is the Negro Question. This is book number 6. The author's name is right here. His name is Professor Lee Cummings. He's out of Chicago, and Professor Cummings is very well written and documented in his writings, in his findings, and with references and everything, and pictures and just you name it. It's just a wonderful work. And so he has the Negro Question. I think there got to be at least seven or eight books, and he has also released a Hebrew dictionary. A Hebrew dictionary. I don't have it yet. I did get to look at it. My daughter has it. I got to look at hers briefly when I was there, but I'm working on getting mine. Also, like I said, he has now, I believe he has a movie out about, I can't remember what it's about, but I know he does have one out. And you can go to negroquestion.com, I believe, and find his book. So you can go on Amazon, but he says it's better to buy it from his site. So that's what I'm going to do when I get myself together to get. I have a few of his books. I don't have all of them, but I plan on getting them. But this book is entitled, if you can see it, the 13 Black Colonies. Now, we don't get this teaching in our history classes. We just don't. Okay, and I'm led to read. I did it last year, but I didn't actually read. I started from the beginning, but I'm just going to read chapter 4, started chapter 4, which is actually the 13 Black Colonies. Okay, and so if you're out there, you come on in the room and we can do a little. That's what the book room is about. And when we say just give me book, we mean this is a book, of course. But when we say just give me book, we're talking about the scriptures. Mr. Cummings does add scriptures in some of his teaching, but this is a historic research on us as a people and proving that many of our, through whitewashing, many of our accomplishments and even who we are as a people has been hidden. And so when I say whitewashing, that means that paintings and artifacts that have been repainted, washed over, from melanated to Caucasian faces. So, but we're gonna just read just for educational sake. I don't own the rights to this book. Again, this is Professor Lee Cummings. I have talked to him, so I know that I have permission to read it. I talked to him last year, but it's a public knowledge. You can buy it, so I'm going to read a little bit of it tonight and probably try to read some out of here throughout. And I have some other books that I might read from. Just you know, I know that this Black History Month is pretty much, for what they put out. It's really doesn't even scratch the surface of who we are as a people. All right. With that being said, I'm going to do a little reading. If you come in, I'll see you come in, and I hope you enjoy the read, even if it's not now and you see it later. Okay. Again, the 13 Black Colonies. I'm going to read the introduction, and then I'm going to go to that chapter 4. Introduction. The images on the front of the cover of this book is original Delaware. Is the original Delaware Charter, and you can see the writing. See the writing if you can see it. You see the writing. That's the Delaware Charter. He said, and it says, which includes the original black image of King Charles II of Scotland and England. This book is the first of its kind in that it proves that the original founding fathers of the 13 British colonies were 5 black kings from Europe. 4 of the black kings were black Stuart Highlanders, Scots, and the 5th was a black German king by the name of King George II of England. I provide you with a rare ship manifest that gives a physical description of the black Scottish Highlanders as they board the convict ships. You will also read the eyewitness accounts of former English Secret Service agent John Mackay as he describes the black princes, dukes, and barons of the Scottish nation. I have inserted DNA evidence from 4 different sources which validate the colonization of North America by black people. Also, all of a sudden, we are reading articles that say 40,000 years ago, dark-skinned people came to Europe and populated Scotland, Britain, Ireland, Spain, and America. We are reading statements from their scientific terms. The ancient Europeans retained their darkness longer than expected. We are reading statements like they were here, but they vanished. Can you say damage control? This result from genetic research. The writings of the ancient historians, the Negro Question Book series, and the archaeological records are forcing the Europeans to admit that the true founders of Europe and America were black. This will be astonishing to the so-called Negro and his scholars, but if it will be old news to the white elite. They already know this. Take your time when you read this book and don't be in a hurry. This is truly the next episode. All right, but I'm going to skip the beginning. I'm not going to try to go through the whole thing. I can give you some of the I'll read through some of the titles here. This might spark you into the family of King James, Zerach and Calco in Europe, fringes in Scotland and Ireland, the 13 black colonies, which we're going to read some of tonight, the ship manifest and black Scots, chapter 5, the black American Indians, 6, the black Scottish Highlanders, 7, ship manifest of black Scots, and conclusion to the 13 black colonies. All right. Then it says here religious sections of books, chapter 8, the writings of King James, and then references. All right. So we're gonna go to the 13 black colonies, and I'm gonna read them off first, and then I'm gonna start reading. So we have the 13 black colonies. There is a map here, but you can barely see it. But the colonies are Virginia, 1607, Massachusetts, 1620, New Hampshire, 1623, New York, 1625 to 1664. Maryland, 1632. Connecticut, 1636. Rhode Island, 1636. Delaware, 1638. North Carolina, 1663. New Jersey, 1664. South Carolina, 1664. Pennsylvania, 1681. And Georgia, 1732. I just read the 13 Black colonies. Shalom, shalom. Ima Pauya and Zakin Clarence. Welcome, welcome, anybody over here. Okay. I'm just reading out of this book, this 13 Black Colonies by Professor Lee Cummings. And you just caught me. I just read the 13 original colonies. Now I'm going to start reading chapter 4. We have been taught in the classrooms that slavery existed in the 13 colonies, but it is impossible. There was the Council of Westminster in 1102, and that was held in London that ruled the peculiar institution of slavery was illegal. The English Magna Carta of 1215 held that all men have the right to liberty. Then there was a case in England in 1569 in which a Russian by the name of Cartwright was seen beating his slave. He was arrested and brought before the courts and tried. The Court of England ruled that the institution of slavery is not recognized in England. The reason I have cited all of these cases and laws is to prep you for the truth that slavery was not recognized in England. The Black Scottish Stuart kings wrote in each charter that the law of the colonies must be consistent with those in England. This is the reason why there was no slavery in the original 13 colonies. The first king to break the Magna Carta was King George II in 1752. He was not a Scot, he was a black German. Benjamin Franklin said that the Germans were swarthy in 1751, which was 19 years after the founding of Georgia. First Virginia colony, 1607. There's an illustration. I'm not going to get into it, but if you want the information to get the books, you can. There is a picture here showing some things, and it says, this is the official map of New England, which later was named Jamestown, and the man in the upper left-hand corner is John Smith. Okay. It says you will do good to note that Captain John Smith was a black Scot, and I shall make that plain to you by blowing up the image on the next page. And he does that. In some of the charter states, I will deal only with images, but in others, I will deal with the non-slavery language of the charters. I thought it prudent to forewarn you concerning this perceived subject transitioning. John Smith. We have been saturated with the white image of John Smith, one of the founders of Jamestown, but he was not white. It is impossible for the testimony of Boyd Dawkins and the only life portrait of Captain John Smith that he could be white. According to Professor Dawkins, the blacks were pushed into the Highlands of Scotland. The surname last name Smith belongs to the Chattan clan, the Chattan, which was made up of a confederation of 26 clans. Chattan clan from Highlands of Scotland, and Smith was one of the clans. On the next page, I will provide you with a map of ancient Scotland, that shows the Chattan clan being in the Highlands of Scotland. Now, I'm not going to try to show you the pictures, family. Like I said, you can get the books. Well, I'll just try. I don't think I can do it, but you can see it. Okay, and I think there's an arrow up there somewhere pointing to it. But and I do see that chatting. Okay. Ancient maps of Scotland and Chattan Smith clan. The Chattan clan was located in the Highlands of Scotland. This is the exact location that Professor Boyd Dawkins on page 3 said that the blacks inhabited. Now I didn't get into reading the first part because it's a lot of. I mean, I probably should, but it's just a lot of. It's about King James, and I can come back with that. But I would suggest if you're interested to get the book. Okay. Um, the image of John Smith, the Highlander. Now this is the picture. They're not that clear. So if you can see him up in the corner. Okay. This is a copy of the original map. Virginia was a map of Virginia that was drawn by Simon D. Passe, Passe, in 1616. The image of John Smith was copied from the original. I have slowed the image down on the next page, on the next few pages, so that you can see the true color of this man. Now, I'm like I said, I'm not going to get into showing the pictures. I just want to read the history, all right? Because you really have to see it for yourself, all right? Here's another one talking about the image of John Smith, copied the original Simon D. Passe, 1616. The engraving of Captain John Smith is currently being housed at the Smithsonian Institute. This is the only known portrait of John Smith, and you can't help but notice that the man is brown skinned. This will come as no surprise to you once you realize that he was a Highlander and he was a black Scot. I have slowed the image down even further on the next page, and I can show you that real quick. Like I said, they're black and white, so you can't really. And this is the other page. Okay, so let me keep reading. The Highlanders are generally diminutive with brown complexions and almost always with black curled hair and dark eyes. Annals of Caledonian Picts and Scots by Joseph Ritson, Volume 2, Edinburgh Ward D. Lang, 1828, footnote, page 7 and 27. The painting of John Smith matches the eyewitness account of Joseph Ritson. Professor Boyd Dawkins, the ship manifest, and it gives the pages and everything, and the eyewitness account of John Mackey on page 187. Benjamin Franklin describes the English as white and red. This image of John Smith does not fit the description of a white man. Who are we supposed to believe? The guy that heard the story from someone else or the guy at the scene? I'm going to go with the guy at the scene. This guy writes pretty much from his research, but from his perspective. Virginia Charter 1606. This is the 13 black colonies. And do therefore, this is the Virginia Charter 1606. They read funny. I'm gonna try to keep up with it. Okay. And do therefore for us our heresies and successors grant and agree that the side that the said Sir Thomas Gates, Sir George Somers, Richard Hatchcote, and Edward Marie Whitfield, adventurers adventures of and for our city of London, and all such others as are or should be joined unto them, um, to them of the colony shall be called the first colony, and they shall and may begin their said first plantation and seat of their first abode, their first abode and habitation at an place upon the side coast of Virginia or America. The charter for Virginia in 1606 was called the first colony, and to that end, and for the more speedy accomplishments of their of that yeah speedy accomplishments of their side intended they said intended this okay their said intended plantation and habitation there are desirous to divide themselves into two several colonies and companies, the one consisting of certain uh, knights, gentlemen, merchants, and other adventures of our city of London and elsewhere, which are the and from time to time uh, shall be joined unto them which do desire to begin their plantation and habitations in some fit and convenient place between 4 and 30 and 1 and 40 degrees of the said latitude, all along the coast of Virginia and coast of America aforesaid, and the other consisting of sundry knights, gentlemen, merchants, and other adventures of our city of Bristol and Exeter, um, and of our own town of Plymouth. King James tells you which cities participated in the colonization of Jamestown, Bristol, Exeter, Plymouth, and Cornwall were black towns in Devon, Devon, and Devon. This is huge because these cities are the locations of the blacks that Professor Boyd Dawkins spoke of. The second colony of Plymouth, and these do likewise for us, our heresies and successors by these present grant and agree that the said Thomas Hannum, uh, Raleigh Gilbert, William Parker, and George Popham, and all others of the town of Plymouth in the county of Devon. Here are some names of the leaders of the Virginia colony and their place of origin: Thomas Gale Conwell, George Summers Conwell, Richard Hackett, um, Edward Mariah Whitfield Walsh, and Raleigh Gilbert Conwell. All these men last names place their origination in the Black Highlands of Scotland, and that is a fact. I have a greater witness come that greater witness than this. Come and see. We have here Nantucket founded 1623. Nantucket founded in 16. The nice pictures, like I said, they're in black and white. I can't, I'm just showing them. That says Tristram Coffin, founder of Nantucket. Image located in Wikipedia. Okay, this coin reads: These are the first and the race. These are the first of the race to settle America, and is dated to the year 1642. This black man purchased Nantucket, small country in Massachusetts, from Thomas Mayhew and he also uh, uh, owned Tuckernut Island. In 1660, the name Tristram can be traced back to Devon and Cornwall, which was the location of the Black Britons and Scots. Professor Boyd Dawkins stated that the blacks were pushed into Cornwall and Devon. Tristram Coffin name can be traced. Tristan Coffin name can be traced to Cornwall and Devon. This is what I call a perfect match. Tristan Coffin founded Nantucket. Okay, and Mr. Cummings says, I believe that the first people to enter Cromwell were African pygmies. This comment and others can be found on pages 280 and 283 of footnotes of vanished race in Cromwell. These people didn't vanish. They were massacred or deported. I have noticed in all the books that I have read that the honest scholars say these people vanished. It is a cover-up to hide the fact that the Black Scots migrated and founded the 13 British colonies. It doesn't help when the victor has two of the greatest weapons in the world, a pencil and an eraser. Mm-mm-mm. The New York Charter, 1664. I'm not going to read all of these. I'll come back and read some more, get a couple in. The New York Charter, 1664. King James, the Duke of New York, Duke of Albany, King of Scotland and England, 1664, National Portrait Gallery. This image of the Duke of New York depicts him as a black Scottish king. He was named after King James VI of Scotland. The Duke of New York was granted these lands by his brother, King Charles II. New York, the land between Connecticut, Delaware, Long Island, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and one half of Maine. This is the reason the book was titled The 13 Black Colonies, because based on the research, the original founders were 4 black Scottish kings and 1 black German king. Picture, real quick. Can't get him up there like that. King James II and the Duke of New York, 1664, the Highlander, image location, National Portrait Gallery of London. The colonization of New York has to be split between the Dutch, French, and the English. The French colonized New York in 1524, and the Dutch founded New York in 1626. The English took control of New York in the year 1664, and in that year there was a population of 7,000 to 8,000 inhabitants. Let's see who the British sent into colonize New York. The 13 Colonies, Part 1. Arthur Helen, this is Arthur Helen Annalise Smith. Okay, let me read it. This is something quoted. Okay, in the year 1664, there were 7,000 Dutchmen besides the real Dutch, Persians, Bohemians, French, Swedes, Norwegians, Danes, and 5,000 English, including Scots, Welsh, and Irish. Can I prove that these people were black? Yes, I can. See Benjamin Franklin's essay, America as a Land of Opportunity, 1751. Okay. I think he's got some quotes in here from that. Let's see. Why should the Palestine Moors be suffered to swarm into our settlements? They will never adopt our customs any more than they can obtain our complexion. All of the African, Asians, and Americans are swarthy, black. Russians, Italy, Spain, France, Swedes, and Germans are black. This is a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Okay. The principal whites are made up of the Saxons and the English. The Scots, Welsh, and Irish are not Saxons or English. But Benjamin Franklin writes this essay in 1751. The black German king George II is sitting on the throne in England. Let me read that again from George Watt, Benjamin Franklin. Why should the Palestine Moors be suffered to swarm into our settlements? They will never adopt our customs any more than they can adopt our complexion. Listen, all of Africa, Asia, and America are swarthy black. Russia, Italy, Spain, France, Swedes, and Germans are black. The principal whites are made up of the Saxons and the English. The Scots, Welsh, and Irish are not Saxons or English. When Benjamin Franklin writes this essay in 1751, the black German king George II is sitting on the throne in England. Continue to read. German King George III of England. Benjamin Franklin said that the Germans were swarthy, and he did not lie. The black German king, King George, was a founder of Georgia, and the other 12 colonies were founded by black Stuart Highlander kings. The New Plymouth Charter. It's another charter. These charters are kind of hard to read. I'm going to stop after this and come back another time to read some more. In all and every or any of which said great and general courts so assembled, we do for us our heresies and success, our heirs and successors give and grant to the said governor and company and their successors, that the governor or in his absence, the deputy governor of the said company for the time being, and such of the assistants and freemen of the said company as shall present, or the greater number of them so assembled, whereof the governor or deputy governor and 6 of the assistants at the least should be served, shall have I gotta figure that word out, shall have full power and authority to choose, nominate, and appoint such and so many others as they shall think fit, and that shall be willing to accept the same, to be free of the said company and body, and them into the same to admit, and to elect and constitute such officers as they shall think requisite for the ordering, managing, and dispatching of the affairs of the said governor and company and their successors, and to make law and ordinance for the good and welfare of a said company, and for the government and ordering of the said lands and plantations, and the people inhabiting, and to inhabit it the same, as to them from time to time shall be thought meet. Okay, so as such laws and ordinances be not contrary or repugnant to the laws and statutes of this our realm of England. Did you see that? The charter said, now he's going to explain, the charter said that the governors could not make laws that were contrary to the English realm, and it at this time, ladies and gentlemen, slavery was not considered an abomination. Slavery was considered an abomination not only to the Kingdom of England, but to most of the European arenas at that time. By the time you are through reading this book, you will see that the English slave trade has to be divided between the Stuart kings and the Hanover kings. The black Stuart kings did not involve themselves in the slave trade. It was the black German king George I kept asking myself why. If the Black Scots founded the 13 colonies, why would the Scottish king enslave their own people? The answer was simple. King George was a black German. He was not a Scot. He had no problem enslaving the black Scots since they were not his people. There is no mention of slavery in this charter. Timeline 1630. I'm going to stop there. The next one is the Maryland Charter. We'll come back with that maybe tomorrow. All right, family. Thank you for tuning in. Did anyone come over here? Nope, nobody came in on this side over here. But thank you to the Phillips in the house, Fresh Spring. Thank you for being in, and I hope that you enjoyed the read. It's a little tough because these charters are actually in the original language, so it's just hard to read. You know, the spelling and everything is the way that they spelled and the way they talked. So I was just doing the best I could. So we'll be back on the next read with the Maryland Charter, issued in 1633, issued by King Charles I of Scotland. All right, family. Thank you for tuning in. I'm not going to keep you long tonight. All right. I know folks got to work tomorrow. So with that being said, be at peace, family.